Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joshua Alexander. I'm here with my friend X again.
What's up?
And today we're going to be talking about being mindful of our actions, words, and thoughts. As usual, this podcast will be open-minded to race, gender, religion, and other aspects of life. Please be sure to follow us on Facebook and be sure to check out the other podcasts if you have not. Alright, so getting right into the topic, being mindful of our actions, words, and thoughts. Why not, and what does it do? Obviously, words do hurt. Sticks and stones may break our bones. Well, that's what people say. But we don't actually think about it, that it can actually be deeper than that. If you hear negativity every day, people start to believe that, maybe this is just me. Going into, the mask skin that people, they put on accessories in the mask because they feel comfortable with it, with the insecurities that they have within their life. If we're not mindful of our words and actions, we can hurt each other or even other people, because bullying can also lead to, violent behavior and harming animals and wildlife because we have no appreciation in life. All this, deforestation that's going on right now, that people don't have, any respect for, Mother Nature and what's going on, and eventually, we're all gonna start to die in the world because, people aren't, they don't really care about, the outdoors, and the outdoors were here before us. Something like that. And last but not least, watch those insecurities and thoughts, because, having these insecurities and thoughts and not feeling worth it can definitely lead to risk cutting and suicide, And that's just something, basic, just to give the basic introduction and let my friend X, give what he has to say and keep back up for that. So,
Alright. So, mindlessness. Why would one be mindless anyway? Why isn't it so? Why isn't it that one is born mindful, lives their whole life mindfully, and dies? The body just dies and they're mindful all the way up to that point? Why not? There are obviously distractions taking the attention, our attention, and causing us to pour it into these distractions. So, that's why we go throughout life mindlessly, absent-mindedly, making mistakes, having fear, having doubt, living in an unaware style. So, what are the consequences? Why should I care about being mindful or mindless? Yeah, I'm gonna die anyway. Why should? Okay, you're gonna die anyway, huh? So how do you want the quality of your life to be? I tell you, you live mindfully, it'll be completely. You will see the difference from a mindless lifestyle. If you travel over to being mindful of everything you do, slowly, more and more, you become more and more mindful of your actions, thoughts, words. You will see the difference. And now, if you don't like that, once you actually do this, practice this, once you become mindful of everything, you tell me you don't like that, then hey, be mindless, Consequences of mindlessness. Come on. Mindless behavior. You're doing things that you don't intend to do. You wouldn't normally have done this thing, but now you've done it. Okay. Now you're feeling it don't sit well with you because it wasn't your decision. Now you have to face the consequences of whatever action that was performed. What you reap, you sow. So, you doing something mindlessly, something that you would never have done, you feel the consequences. Know that you're the one who attracted it. Know that.
Okay. That was a long pause. Alright, yeah. So, just briefly to, I'll pick it back. I like what you said, and I wrote down, a little note about, cause and effect that, people have these no fear of repercussions, different things that they do. Just think, oh, I'm gonna die anyway. That's something that, even sometimes, I've said certain things that I know that, you're on the vegetation path, and you're like, oh, don't eat this, don't eat that, but I'm like, I'm gonna die anywhere. It doesn't matter if I get sick or, life decisions or different things, McDonald's, all this junk food, it doesn't matter, I'm gonna die anyway. So, but, actually, thinking over it is like, what's like, in a sense, that's like almost like committing suicide, not knowingly. You're eating all these junk foods and smoking and drinking and killing yourself slowly. It doesn't matter, I gotta live, I have to, I have to be this thing, I have to be this person, to have fun and all that stuff. And no one's not saying that you can't have fun, but not living mindfully. If you're living mindlessly, you're killing yourself faster than normally would.
You know what sucks about living mindlessly? You know what really sucks? You are not in control of your body, of your thoughts. It's all running on habit that you have accumulated. You're not in control. You're just a pawn to something that doesn't even really exist. It's not you. It's just the body's own accumulation of habit. So if you're not in control, you can fall victim to this self-enslavement. Okay? Do you want to live like that? Do you want to have control? Huh? Do you want to feel good all the time? You want to suffer? You want to be suffering for no reason? All these moments in your life, you can just be at peace, but yet your mind is finding some reason to suffer. And why? Because of a habit that it's accumulated, of a fear that it's accumulated through observation. No questioning, just fear. You respect the system out of fear. Like that's what the mind does. The mind observes something and absorbs it like a sponge, and now you could either go along with it or you could just take it out of your life. But if you're not making the decisions, then your body and mind is just gonna do anything, go whichever way, because you're not in control. You're asleep. You're just along for the ride.
Going with the flow.
You take control and live mindfully. You will see. I know I felt joy because I noticed, first of all, that everything that I was doing in the past was mindless. Things I would say that would bring a certain result that would make me feel uneasy. Things I would do that would be a big inconvenience. But when I practiced mindfulness, all of my decisions and words were my choice, and anything that I didn't feel like saying, all the random thoughts that just came up, I didn't say it. You know why? Because I was in control. I took over my life. I took over. Living mindfully always will not only liberate, but always living mindfully will ensure that you remain not ignorant. It will keep you progressing, growing in the way that you want to grow. You will live in the way that you want to live, and it will not be autopilot. You understand? You won't just go any which way. You will have control.
Um, couple of thoughts. I totally agree with you. You know, when you said that. You know, when you were not living mindfully, it brought back memories of the past ninth grade and 10th grade, how you were and people stuff like that. And that also brought back some things too now, because now I'm living mindfully. Well, I wasn't saying I was mindless, but I've always thought that these actions and things, I always knew that I was not in control of what I said and what I did. But then I realized that I was always in control. I've just let it, the fear of being rejected and depression and all that stuff kind of run my life, trying to be this thing that I never was. Last night, I had a talk with a friend, and she said some very deep and important stuff. She was like, you complain about, having this hole, need to be fixed. But what if it was already fixed? And because you've been trying to add on all this other stuff to it, you've been blocking it from what it really was. And then I thought down, and I was like, you know what? Originally, back in 2010, when I wanted this, this whole depression and hole to be fixed, I had one goal in mind, and that was to get over this female, and I did. But then, because I got over that female with another female, I've been like, okay, now I need to get over this female and that female. And I kept on dragging past all these other relationships and what I thought it should have been to all those other people, and it was never right. When I never started off being fresh and clean and clear without any expectations or set boundaries of what it should have been. But I've been treating everyone just the same, like almost, how you must say, oh, every guy's the same. Well, have you tried every guy? Everyone's different. I know that certain people, certain motives and things will always seem the same, but it's always going to be a different approach. You have to know the difference between that. And so going back to, what I was saying was that, it got to the point that because I was, living mindlessly and not really coming face to face with what the problem was, I broke down. I broke down because I kept on dragging it from the next female, until I got to the point where I had to realize, like, what am I doing? Like, why am I letting this control my life? Why am I letting this, define who I am? And now I think about it, all those things were never me. I've been putting on this show because I realized that I was getting attention from being so sad and depressed because people don't like to see people said, oh, what's wrong? Let me talk. So I realized that, okay, now I'm sucking people in. It's kind of bad. Just thinking about it makes me seem like, I was so freaking evil to just manipulate people into, forcing them into talk to me, be nice to me, because normally they wouldn't do it because, if you're happy and normal, yeah, people want to be around you and all that stuff, but it's not the same that, when they see someone off to the side, you're like, he's different. What's wrong with him? Let me see, let me talk to him. Let me try to, be his friend, all that stuff. Now, I'm like, I can't, like, it just got to the point where I'm like, I'm tired of lying to myself, and I'm tired of lying to other people. I'm tired of putting on the show and putting on, this mask of feeling bad when, people who know me, and they get to know me and you talk to me, you're like, I'm pretty sure they probably think that I'm a different person. It's like, in public, you look to be this way, but behind closed doors, you're someone different. It's like, what's going on? Like, which one is the real Joshua? Is it this one, or is it that one? And so, it just got to the point, I'm like, you know what? I gotta stop lying to myself. I have to stop lying to people, and I just gotta, show them that, there is no issue with it. Not to sound, bragging and saying that, I'm perfect, and my life is all, right. I mean, shit does go down, things do happen, but for you to sit there and let it control you, that's the real problem. I don't want you to think that this body that you're in is yours. These emotions that you have are yours, when it's something deeper than that. It goes way deeper than just these emotions that you feel in the morning or at night, if you're happy or sad. Yeah, they're earthly emotions, but don't let it think that that is just specifically you. You know, if you've been hurt by so many people, don't think that there's something wrong with you. You know, don't let the situation that you're in control you. You control it. You have dominion over your thoughts and your actions. You just don't know it yet. Perhaps you just need to be more enlightened and more awakened on ways to get your life together. Just a thought. What do you think? You want to talk about yoga? Ways to get your life enlightened. Because that's the direction I was going in, you know. Because I know that that's what you do. So being mindful of your actions and words, you know. And then I definitely talked about, you know, harming animals and wildlife, you know, vegetarian approach, different things, you know, being right. So, you know, you do.
Mindfulness, like domino effect. One little domino, which is mindfulness. You knock that over, lots of things start falling into place. You know, like it's just chain effect. You're gonna create a beautiful domino pattern. Everything's gonna start coming into order as everybody individually begins to be mindful of what they do, what they eat, you know, how they live, how they breathe. Mindful of life, mindful of death, mindful of the mind, living mindfully. It will have its chain reaction in you, and you will see how you are able to change your life tremendously. And not only will your mindfulness change you, but of course it will change everything around you. Because come on, common sense. If you're changing, then what you do is different, and how you think and how you speak, your whole life is changing. So all your interactions with the world and the people and all that, that's all going to change according to how you change. So therefore, if you live mindfully, life itself is more in your favor, more in your hands. You have control over yourself, and in turn, that's doing great for the world. You know, you're healing the world by being mindful. So be mindful. Be mindful. How to be mindful?
Yeah.
Well, there are many. There are so many practices that people do to become mindful. Of course, and people meditate in hopes of becoming mindful, cultivating mindfulness. People do hatha yoga. People, to become mindful, go and listen to whoever they admire. Because if you admire, let's say, the most infamous murderer, and you're like, they're cool, how do I become like them? So now you want to be more mindful on a certain topic. But if you want to be mindful of your own life, your own actions, your own your being, then you don't have to go seeking, you know, from anyone or anything, but have your practices or your actions to cultivate that mindfulness centered around you. You practicing with your mind, your body, all these things to cultivate mindfulness. Mindfulness, it depends on what you want to be mindful of. If you want to be mindful of life, you know, you find out what life is, then find out what you are. Find out who you are. Find out who you are.
Alright, I mean, it's gonna take some time. Don't think, by listening to this podcast, overnight I'm gonna be mindful. No, I mean, it's gonna take a while, You have to go through, there's gonna be a lot of steps and trials and tribulations in your life, and that, if you were just aware of or mindful of, I'm not saying you can prevent it, but you can, when you're in the situation, you can deal with it better because you're mindful, you're aware, One of the things that they say is that, when you're afraid, you don't think. But if you're calm and relaxed in a panic, situation, you may actually survive. I think I heard that somewhere revolving about airplane people who don't get all frantic, about an airplane crashing or any crisis. They do better because they thought about, okay, what I'm gonna do, step 1, step 2, all these steps to get out of the situation that I'm in. So most importantly, being mindful makes you more aware of your surroundings, of things that's happening to you, so you won't break down, or you won't have that, that crisis moment where you're like, oh, what do I do, you panic and you do something stupid. Being mindful, relax, calm, thinking things over, having a nice smooth approach through life. You gonna say something else?
Good news, everyone. Good news. You want to cultivate this mindfulness? Okay. You want to cultivate, let's say, more mindfulness or something? When does that start? You have to mindfully cultivate mindfulness, right? So when does that start? When do you start mindfully cultivating that mindfulness? When? Oh, you guys can't answer. Now! The time is now!
You did this if... Are you ready?
The time is now. The time is now.
Are you ready?
You be mindful. And just go for it. Everything that you need to do, you don't have to be afraid. Every practice that you must go through in order to evolve yourself, to grow the way you want to grow, mindfully, the way you want to, because mindfully, now if you're being mindful, it's in your control. So if you want to grow the way you want to grow, you want to live the way you want to live, yeah, time is now. Start. Do that right now. Right now.
We're gonna close here, but last thought to say is, to piggyback off of what I said, be yourself. Being mindful is knowing that, this is your life to live. Don't let anyone else control, who you want to be. And also, there's another thing that you said, influence. I know that, when things go rough, you listen to music or try to, watch movies or shows to get inspiration through life. But you have to understand, that's not you. You can't let other people live your life. Even though we're telling you things, be mindful of this, but you have a choice at the end of the day. You have free will of whether you want, to be more mindful, or you want to remain the same. I mean, there's nothing. Alright, there is something wrong with what you said. Yeah, mindful or mindless. Do you want to be mindless and just live your life, go with the flow, or this is a new wave, new jeans, new clothes, new shoes, okay, I'm gonna get this, or you're gonna have a mind of your own, so you know what, I can save this money to get something else, or I can do this and do that with, this money, or my time, or invest this, instead of just, going with the flow and doing all the stuff, because at the end of the day, there will be a time when you look back and you say, you know what, I regret buying this, or I regret doing this, or I was so stupid when I was younger, I was so this, I was so that. But if you were mindful, you could have avoided some of these things that will happen to you, when you get older in the future. Thank you for listening to this podcast. Share it with your friends, like it. If if you didn't get a chance to listen to the first one with me and X that we did masks, that's a very nice and influential podcast. And to actually take off the mask and realize that these flaws and insecurities are not you, be yourself. Last week I had a chance to pair up with my friend Faye, and we did what are classic ladies, how can we be classic ladies, and that was basically talking about pretty much the same thing, being yourself and not dressing in a way to get attention. Now there's this huge hooks with Kim Kardashian showing her ass on magazine. Everyone wants to tear it up, I don't want to say she's a classic lady or not, but that's her choice. If she wants to be a sex object and people think of her of just that, then that's how she's gonna live her life for the rest. And now today we're talking about being mindful and actions and thoughts and all that stuff, and that moves deeper into that. Next week, I want to give a shout out to my friend Balil, because I know that he wants to do a podcast with me. So hopefully next week, sometime, that can come to pass. And if not, then sometime, we'll get a chance to do a podcast, man. I'm sorry. Thank you, and have a blessed day.